Hi, I'm John Twist of University Motors, and because it's the fall time and most everybody's worried about how their heaters work in their MGs, I thought I'd take this opportunity today, Thursday, the 14th of October, to show you a little bit about heater motors. I got a call already today from a guy with a 1500 midget who was complaining that there was no heat coming out of his heater matrix, out of his heater box, and even though he'd pushed the lever to the correct side. So I proposed to him that he take one of the lines off the heater, put a garden hose in it, blow the sludge out of the system. But that made me think that there's more to the heating system than just the hot water that goes through the matrix. I just want to explain a couple things. This is a nasty old broken heater out of an earlier Sprigget of some kind. I've got it hooked up here. I don't know which way it is, but you can see that the squirrel cage runs anti-clockwise here. Okay, excuse me, that's running clockwise. It's blowing the air. I can feel the air here. I don't feel any air here, so it's blowing the air towards me. Now, if I take the leads on this and I switch them so that the battery's hooked up backwards to the way it was, look at that, it still runs the same way. So it doesn't matter which way it's hooked up, because it's a field wound motor, the motor always turns in the same direction. Permanent magnet motors are not like that, like the fans on an MGB. Those will run in the wrong direction if they're hooked up wrong. But there are two ways that the heater motors are installed. On an MGB, for instance, the heater fan is put in like this from the front and blows across the matrix and in. But on an MGA, the heater motor is put on the back side and runs the opposite way. So some of these are designed to run clockwise, some counterclockwise. It doesn't make any difference unless you think that someone has changed your heater motor. We'll have a little bit more about the heater motors and the wiring in just a minute. The next thing that I hear from people is, my heater core is burst. You know, it froze and it's leaking. I said, how do you know it's leaking? They say, well, you know, up on the inside of the windshield I get this greasy film. I go, well, that's certainly antifreeze on the inside of your windshield, but it's not because your heater matrix is frozen and burst. I have seen a couple in 40 years, a couple of these freeze and burst, but that usually isn't what happens. Usually it's the hose, and of course I don't have a hose here to show you, but usually it's the hose which fits over this fitting. The hose gets loose and starts to leak. Well, it doesn't leak outside. The fluid squirts into the heater matrix, into the inside. The fan picks it up, puts it on the windshield. So all you have to do is remove the clamp, put a new clamp on it, get the hose more snugly on the little nipple here, and it'll stop leaking, and that'll take care of your leaking heater core. If you want to check your heater core, all you have to do is purse your lips on the thing and draw a vacuum. Nice vacuum. They're hardly ever bad. You hardly ever need to change them. Changing the heater core is one of the most difficult things in the car. Let's take a look at a late model MGB and let me show you about the wiring. So here we are at Amanda Sawyer's 77, I think it's a 77, yeah, H registration, MGB. Take a look at the heater box on this MGB. The hot water comes out into the heater control valve. These guys sludge up, absolutely. I mean, they do two things. They either work or they don't work, but when they don't work, it's either because they're dripping right onto the distributor, which makes the car run bad until it quits, or they sludge up on the inside. Sometimes you can take them off and remove jellied antifreeze on the inside. But once they're open, then the hot water leaves the cylinder head, goes into the bottom of the heater matrix, and then out of the top of the heater matrix and goes back to the return line for the water pump. So the heater matrix that I drew the vacuum on is located inside the heater box here. And here we've got the heater motor fan, which takes fresh air from the fresh air grill up here and blows it through the heater matrix and down onto your feet, or if sometimes it's routed up to the windscreen to demist. On the later model cars, there are 3 wires involved in the circuit But here we have our plug here, our main plug, and there are 3 wires that end up going to the motor. There's a black wire, which is always ground, and there's the green with brown that runs the heater motor at full speed. But on the 77 through 80s, there's an intermediate position on the heater switch, which is the green with yellow. The green with yellow then goes up to a resistor, which then in turn powers the white with brown with half the voltage, and so the motor itself runs at half speed. And that resistor is a big wire-wound resistor, lies on the inside of the heater box, right inside here. So this is pretty straightforward. 3 wires. Green with brown is always our heater motor wire from 1963 through 1980. But 77 through 80, we pick up the green with yellow, which is a half voltage, and runs the heater fan. Sometimes the heater fan doesn't run after a year or more of line disused. All you need do most often is take the 3 screws out, 1, 2, there's a 3rd one down here, to hold the heater motor in, pull it out, give it a spin by hand with the switch on. It starts to run, it works great. You can put the thing back in. I've never ever found a heater motor that's burned out. So anyway, that's today's discussion about heater matrices and heater controls and so forth on the MGBs. Let me remind everyone that we are going to be shut down during the month of November while we make our move from University Motors 2.0 on Fulton Street in Ada to University Motors 3.0 on Patterson out in Kentwood. I'll be at Bob Connell's shop November. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving on a Saturday for a tune-up. I'll be in Indianapolis for a tech seminar. So those of you who are in the greater Indianapolis or southern Indiana area, call Bob Connell. Come on over for our all-day tune-up session on Saturday. Until later, see you guys later. Thanks.